Hey guys, today we're gonna go over the different types of deadlifts. So we got an RDL, a sumo deadlift, a conventional deadlift, and a stiff leg deadlift. There are different ways to do it. You could go barbell, you can go Smith machine, you can go dumbbell. Today we're going pit shark. So I'll also explain when you would do this specific deadlift. There's a few different variations of an RDL. You can do a hamstring bias RDL, or you can do a glute bias RDL. Let's first go over the RDL and both hamstring, glute bias. You always want to have grips. Why? Because when you're doing, especially for wellness and bikini competitors, you want to be able to isolate your muscle group. So if you're doing an RDL, you don't want to feel it in your biceps. You want to feel it probably in your glutes or your hamstrings. So the grips really help you to carry the weight in your lats. You will stabilize. You might feel it a little bit in your shoulders, but you'll really be able to isolate the desired muscle groups. So let's first go over the glute bias RDL. So thumbs distance outside of my hips is where I want to grip. So on this bar, it's going to be all the way at the end. And then I want to be super locked in. I kind of roll it towards me. An RDL starts at the top, so standing. But whenever you pick something up, you want to make sure your lats are engaged. You have absolutely no rounding to your back. So we'll first go over glute bias. I love doing all deadlifts on the pit shark because it's super stable and I'm able to get into kind of like weird positions to be able to isolate my muscle groups. Okay, so roll the shoulders back, lats engaged, drive down so you're also not in the traps. For a glute bias RDL, you're gonna generously bend the knees. You're gonna send your hips back. Bend your knees while you are sending the hips back. My spine is neutral, so I'm not up and I'm not down. Spine's neutral. Okay, this is how far my hips are going back. So that's the range of motion of my rep. I'm going to only allow my torso to go down as far as my hips will go back. So what you don't want to do for an RDL is extend your torso. See how my torso is now going down, far beyond my hips going back? We don't need to do that. So for a more hamstring bias RDL, your torso is just gonna hinge a little bit more forward and your knees won't be as bent. So slight bend to the knee, roll the shoulders back, lats engaged. My torso is gonna go slightly forward, but again, right as my hips stop going back, I'm gonna come up. That's the range of motion of my rep. Okay? Let's go over now a conventional deadlift. I'm gonna keep using this attachment. Again, thumbs distance outside of the hips. This movement starts on the ground. So your knees are bent, roll your shoulders back, lats engaged. This is my starting position. My hips and knees are gonna move exactly at the same time. All the way down to your range of motion and back up. Sorry, your spine is neutral. And you'll feel this both in your glutes and your hamstrings. So you don't wanna be like this, and you don't want to be like this. Spine is neutral and your eyes follow the movement. A mistake I often see for the conventional deadlift is hips moving up before the knees. We want to refrain from doing that. Think of your knees and your hips being in unison, same time. Okay? Now we're gonna go over the stiff leg deadlift. This is going to bias mostly the hamstring. the main difference is I'm gonna keep a very minimal bend to my knee, and my torso is gonna go forward because I'm really trying to stretch my hamstrings. Same grip right outside of the hips. Okay, this movement starts at the floor as well. Roll my shoulders back, lats are engaged. Notice the difference in my torso and my knees. So my knees are as straight as possible. This will depend on your flexibility. So you don't want it to hurt. Slight bend. My torso goes forward. Straight up. And then I want to stretch my hamstrings. So my torso moves forward and back up. Again, minimal bend to the knee. Neutral spine, so I'm not like this and I'm not like this. Neutral spine. My gaze follows my movement. Torso moves forward and my lats are very engaged. I notice that I like to have most of the pressure of the force in my foot, in the front of my foot. Now, last one, we're gonna go over the sumo deadlift. I'm gonna change my attachment because the sumo deadlift, you want your grip to be inside of your legs. Okay, so the sumo deadlift is a compound movement. You are working your full lower body, the posterior of your lower body. However, I would use a sumo stance if I was really trying to bias more of the glute and the adductor. So the inside of my hamstring and my glutes, I would opt for this position. Typically, somebody can lift more weight in a sumo stance rather than in a conventional stance in the deadlift. So this movement also starts on the floor. Use my grips. For a sumo stance, this is gonna depend on everybody's different gait. So your gait, my gait is small, I have small hips, so it might not be as wide as what your gait is. And by gait, I mean the position of my feet here. So I'm going to roll my shoulders back, get my lats engaged, neutral spine, and then my toes are slightly pointed out. I have 3 points of contact in my feet, big toe, little toe, and heel, and then hips and knees move at the same time. Here I would do a scoop method, so posterior tilt at the top. Sending my hips back because I'm on this pit shark, so it allows me to get more range of motion on the way back. Drive my knees out and scoop. Neutral spine, and my gaze follows my movement. Again, what I don't want to see is the hips moving and then the knees. We don't want that. Your hips and knees move in unison. Okay, that was the different variations of deadlift. There are many different variations, as you can see, and I would utilize these variations while trying to bias certain things or just focusing on certain things. So if I wanted to focus mostly on my glutes, my hamstrings, or whatever my goal is, I would choose one of these movements, depending on that. So if you have any questions on the different variations of deadlift, or I missed anything, or you are finding trouble in maybe your back hurts anytime that you do a deadlift, or whatever your comments are, leave them in the comments so I know what video to make next. See you guys next time.